Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Michelle and I finally can share my first play with the August 2025 Marlene release. I'm going to definitely be playing in this beautiful new handy sized journal. I love Marlene's artwork that's on there. It's just gorgeous. It's a really happy and bright journal. I decided to take the bold words stamp set and the Frantic Deco stencil for a little try out to see what I could come up with. And the only idea that I had with this page was that I wanted to make a really bright, happy page for the front of my journal. So the very first page in my journal, I wanted to make quite bright and happy, and I really wanted to use the word create. Since the moment that Marlene revealed what she was bringing out, I was obsessed with this stamp, and I I was drawn to the word create. So that is the one that I'm going to be using. So I've got some paint out on my mat. It's lemon. I used glow, which is the neon green. This is ballet. I also have mermaid, when I put the mermaid down, I also added a little bit of azure and then some white. So I'm putting paint down, and then I dip my brush in the white, and then I blend the colors out, and I'm just kind of making patches of color. And this first layer is ugly, I know, but don't worry, it's going to come together. That top bit there in the middle made a bit of a muddy color, and I hated it, so I just went over it quickly with some more of the green and white mixed together. And now I've got this beautiful new stencil, and I'm just going to do a little bit of reductive stenciling using the bigger bits. So reductive stenciling is when you smush some paint down onto your page with your finger, you pop the stencil over the top, and then you wipe through the stencil, you wipe the excess paint away through the stencil, and then you'll be left with this kind of negative space or ghost stenciling. I think it's also called ghost stenciling. Once I've used those two different sections, I decided I want to use all the sections. So now I'm going in with a sponge, and I'm just doing normal stenciling just with a sponge from Marlene. Today was my first time with Marlene sponges. No, not the first time. I have used them before, but I've never bought a pack. And I did manage to get my hands on some, and my gosh, they are lovely. They swell up to about 3 times their normal size when you wet them, and they are so soft, and they soak up your paint beautifully, and they lay the paint down beautifully through the stencil. They are really nice. If you don't have your hands on them yet, I can highly recommend them. I think there are 48 in the pack, I think. So there's a lot of them. I think it's great value for money. I decided my page needed a little bit of black just to bring a little bit of calm to all those bright colors. So I went in with the cross stencil, and I'm going in with that same bold words stamp set. Has a couple of little mark making stamps in there as well. And I'm just using the one with, I think it's like plus signs, and I'm just pressing it down into the areas where I already have black, just to make those areas a little less, I feel like it's a little less bold. I don't know how to explain that to you, but just adding those tiny little elements in makes the big crosses feel a little less bold. Okay, I wanted to make purple bubbles all across my page. So I tried using the lavender paint first, but it's not very opaque. So I decided to go in with my Amsterdam acrylic in titanium white. just because I also knew that Marlene's white paint wouldn't be quite sufficient to get that base layer down so the purple stands up. And you can see now when I go over the second time just how nicely those bubbles pop off the page. Because I was turning my stencil here and there and everywhere to try and fill up the gaps, it did take a little bit of time and patience to line them up again so I could get the purple stenciling done. But we got there in the end. It all worked out. I was getting a little bit frustrated, but I persevered, and here we are. We made it. I could have probably painted them, just painted over the initial layer that I had there, but I really wanted to have that soft look from the stencil. The purpose of this video, after all, was to use the stencil, so that's what I did. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of depth to my bubbles. So I've got Marlene's dark purple paint pen, and I'm just doing a little line around the bubble, and then I'm smushing it with my finger. I did try and smush it with a paintbrush, but it didn't work. And then I tried wetting the paintbrush, but then it took too much of the darkness away. So I went back to my finger, and instead of now going around the whole bubble, I'm just going on like one side. So I'm thinking that side would be the shadowy area, and then on the other side I will do a little highlight, and that would be essentially where the light hits the bubble. So the light is hitting the bubble from the right. And there you go, a little highlight on each of them. I didn't do each and every single one of them, just most of them. And the same with when I did the little shadowy bit around it. I also didn't do all of them, sorry. I did think that I would make an outline around all of them with my paint pen, but then I thought maybe that'll be too harsh. So instead I'm using my Stabilo All Pencil, and I'm just doing a shadow again just on the side where I had the darker purple, so on the left side. And that really helped to push those bubbles up off the background, so they really do look like they float on the page, which is quite cute, I think. There was a lot of back and forth with the following. I wanted to make a little charm on white card, but then I couldn't find my white card, and I searched and searched. So eventually I found this yellow piece of card with some mark making at the back, and it has a white back, or it has a white backing. So I decided to do it on there, and then I also decided to do it on some transparency sheets. I ended up not using this. I couldn't figure out a way to make it work. But I left this in because I wanted to show you that sometimes we have an idea in our heads, and sometimes they come together, but other times they just don't, and it's okay. I have them sitting on my desk. I know that eventually they're going to find their way into my journals or onto a tag or something. But yeah, just so you guys know, when we create on screen, it is very much a speed up process. So I speed up my videos 4 times. So what you see here is definitely not as fast as the process is. And you don't see all of the thinking that comes in between. A lot of times I cut out the drying time. So a process video of 15 minutes can take probably an hour to an hour and a half sometimes, depending on what you do. I colored the transparency sheet with my alcohol markers. One of my alcohol markers I took out and the cap was off, so the tip has dried out completely, and it's my favorite one. So if you have tips for me on how to get that alcohol marker working again, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear if you've got any handy tips for me. Okay, now I'm doing the create stamp. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it in black or in a color. The only colors I have are turquoise, pink, green, and orange. And you guys know how I feel about orange, so I didn't even take out the orange one. So I stamped it out a couple of times and I thought, well, I will decide which one I'm going to use once I'm ready for it. So I'm going to fussy cut just around the edges. I'm not cutting the word apart. I'm still keeping it as one whole word, but I am kind of cutting around the letters. While I'm doing this, I'm kind of thinking, what am I going to do next? Because I knew I wanted to use this charm, which I didn't. And so trying to figure out what I'm going to do with it, I cut it out first, and I did the cardboard one as well. But yeah, they just didn't work. And I really, really wanted to give my word create a little shelf to sit on. So I'm back to the Frantic Deco stencil, and I'm using those scallopy bits to try and create like a ledge or something for the word to sit on. I did two, and then I thought, I don't know if I love it. So I decided to flip the stencil over and do another row upside down to kind of make a circle. And in my mind, I thought that they would look like circles, but it looks more like a chain. So I thought, okay, well, then it's a chain. So I'm just finishing off some of the bits with my paint pen. And then I added dots, and I did not like this. I don't know why, but it didn't bring me joy. But I was in it this far. It was black, so there's no way that I would be able to cover it up easily with white or with colors. So I am going to try and make it work. I did find that the black and white word create didn't sit so well on there, so I decided to use the green one, which I really liked. And I'm going to just put some craft foam tape at the back of it to prop it up a little bit, just give it a little bit of dimension. And then there was a whole lot of back and forth of where on the page it should go. And then it went on the left. I decided, you know what, just stick it down and stop faffing. I also smudged some of the black, or some of the white dots on that chain. Let's call it a chain. Then I tried to tie in the chain a bit more to the page. I decided to do some black lines around the edge. But still I wasn't too sure, so I decided I need a third line here, because maybe it's not working, because this is now 2 and not 3, and I do enjoy working with 3s. So I did a third little line there, and then I decided I don't like the white dots, they've got to go. So I'm quickly covering them up. And then I'm just going to use my white fine line Posca paint pen, and I'm going to do a couple of scribbly lines around all of those shapes. I like it better than it was before, but I don't know if I love it. But it is there. It is what it is. There's no changing it now. That top part was a little bit pale and bare for me, so I'm just adding a little bit more stenciling in green to tie in the green letters, and then I'm going to go over the word with some of Marlene's special effects glues, glitter glues. I'm using the diamond one, and that was it for this play. What started out to be quite quick ended up being taking quite a bit of time, but I really enjoyed the process. I really, really love the stencil and the stamp. I know that I will be using it so many times. Yeah, I think if you can only get one or two things from this new range, these two would do you well because they are incredibly versatile. You can use them in many, many ways. And keep watching my channel. I will come up with more ways. I'm going to endeavor to get a video up for you guys every day for the rest of the week and the weekend, and maybe even into next week, depending on how life goes. Subscribe if you have not done so, and I will get back to you very soon. Let me know if you do have the new release and what you think about it. Last pictures of what it looks like inside the beautiful journal. Okay, I'll see you again tomorrow. Okay, bye.